Picture the drive to a law office when your whole future is riding on it. Maybe your work permit is expiring. Maybe someone you love just got a letter from immigration. Maybe you have carried a quiet fear for years that one wrong move could take everything apart. You do not know this lawyer. You do not know if you can trust them or afford them or believe what they tell you. That drive with your stomach in a knot is where almost every immigration case really begins. So today, I want to show you what actually happens after that drive, what it is truly like to work with our firm from the first phone call to the day your case is finished. I am Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. My team and I have walked thousands of immigrant families through this process, and I know that hiring a lawyer can feel almost as frightening as the immigration problem itself. So I'm not going to give you a sales pitch. I am going to tell you the honest version, including the part most firms will never say out loud. Stay with me to the end because that last part is the thing that matters most, and it is the reason our clients stay with us for years. Let us start with the very first step because it sets the tone for everything. It begins with a consultation, not a lecture and not a form to fill out alone in a waiting room. It is a real conversation in the language you are most comfortable speaking, where you tell us what is happening and we listen to the whole story before we say a single word about strategy. You will not be rushed. You will not be made to feel small for a question you think is obvious. The only thing we ask is that you tell us everything, even the hard parts, because the details you're most tempted to hide are usually the ones that decide the case. And here's the first thing that surprises people. Sometimes the most valuable thing we can tell you in that first meeting is that your case is harder than you hoped, or that the quick fix that you read about online does not exist for your situation. I would rather give you the truth on day one than an easy answer that falls apart 6 months later. That honesty is not us turning you away. It is us respecting you enough to be straight with you so that whatever we decide to do, we decide it together with clear eyes. There is a reason that we do all of this in your language and not through a stranger on a phone line. We built this firm to serve immigrants, and most of the families we help are more comfortable in Spanish than in English. Talking about the hardest moments of your life is difficult enough without also fighting to translate in your brain. When you can speak freely in your own words, we understand your case better and you feel less like a case and more like a person. That is not a small thing. It changes everything about how the work feels. And once we take your case, something important changes for you too. You stop carrying it alone. You are not handed a case number and then forgotten. You get a team. There are attorneys who build your legal strategy, and there are the paralegals and case managers who become the people you actually talk to week by week, who learn your name and your children's names and what you're afraid of. Immigration cases can stretch on for months, sometimes years, and over that time, these are the people who walk beside you. Now, let us talk about the thing that keeps most people up at night, which is not knowing what is happening in their case. One of the most common complaints people have about lawyers, any lawyers, is that they call and no one calls them back. So, communication is something we take seriously on purpose. You will know who to contact, you will get updates when something moves, and honest answers when nothing has, because sometimes the truth is that the government is slow and your file is simply waiting in a line. Silence is its own kind of fear, and you should not have to sit in it while you wait. There is something else you should know about how we work, and it is easy to miss. When you come to us with one problem, we do not just look at that one form. We look at your whole situation. Sometimes the case you walked in for is not the strongest option you actually have, and there's a better path you never knew existed. Other times, there is a quiet risk sitting in your history that no one warned you about, and catching it early is the difference between a smooth case and a painful one. You cannot see those things from the outside. Part of what you're hiring is a set of eyes that has looked at thousands of cases and knows where to look on yours. I also want to speak plainly about money because it is the question everyone is too polite to ask at first. Good legal help is an investment, and I will never pretend otherwise. What we can promise is that you understand your fees before you commit to anything in writing with no surprises buried in the fine print. You deserve to make this decision with the full picture in front of you, not to discover the costs after you're already in too deep. Clarity is part of the respect. So, what is the actual experience from start to finish? You come in worried and unsure. We listen and we tell you the truth about where you stand. Together, we choose a path. Then a team goes to work and you are kept in the loop as your case moves through the system, step by careful step, until the day we reach the outcome we plan for. That's the shape of it. But the shape is not really the point. Here is the part I promised you, the part that matters the most. When you work with a firm like ours, the real thing you're getting is not a stack of forms. It is the feeling of not being alone against a system that is confusing and slow and at times frightening. It is having someone in your corner whose only job is to protect your future and to tell you the truth about it. Immigration is not just paperwork. It is your family, your safety, and the life you're trying to build in this country. You should never have to face that with a lawyer who treats you like a transaction. You should face it with people who see you as a person, who fight for you like it is personal, because to us, it is. So think back to that drive to the office with your stomach in a knot. Now imagine the drive home after that first honest conversation. The problem is not gone. The road ahead is still long, but for the first time, you are not walking it by yourself. You know what you are facing, you know who is standing with you, and you can finally breathe. That is what it is like to work with us. Not a promise that everything will be easy, but a promise that you will never be alone in it. If this helped you, watch my video on how to prepare for your first immigration consultation so you get the most out of that meeting, and my video on the questions you should ask any immigration lawyer before you hire them. If you or someone you love is facing an immigration issue and you're ready to talk to someone who will tell you the truth, reach out to my team. My name is Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, and helping immigrant families build their future here is the work of my life. You do not have to do this alone.